Good morning, church. It's good to be in Abrahamstent Ministry. Although I've been here a couple of times, so it's not my first time. But I've been here quietly and staying at the back. Anyway, I'm here to talk to you today about financial literacy. We've got a short time, so I'll get straight into it. There are a lot of things to discuss about the financial markets and financial literacy, but what I'll do today is just highlight on very important principles that we all need to learn and we all need to educate ourselves about how to manage money and how to, get your financial affairs in order. Next slide, please. We'll start quickly with this verse, Matthew chapter 25, from verse 14 to 30. It's the parable of talents. It's a parable that we all know, and is a very, very popular verse in the Bible. But it tells a lot about what we need to be doing about money and what we need to be doing about ourselves. So I'll just quickly read, like I say, Matthew chapter 25, verses 14 to 30. Now it says here, "For the kingdom of heaven is like a man traveling to a far country, who called his own servants and delivered his goods to them. And to one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to each according to his own ability." Now, there's a point there. You can see he gave them talents according to their ability. So what ability do you have? How much have you developed yourself? Personal development is very important. How much you know is very important. What skill you've learned is very important. How much you invest in trading and developing yourself is very important, because as you can see, you'll be given according to your ability. So always think about developing yourself, developing your skills, developing your knowledge. Never be static and be satisfied at where you are, because God will give you according to your ability. Because like Pastor Charles rightly said about tithing, can God trust you with the money to tithe? And when you tithe, can he also trust you're going to use that money wisely? So you'll be given according to your ability. So that's the first thing to learn from that. Now, then he said, and to one he gave 5 talents, to the other 2, and to the other 1, and to each according to his own ability. And immediately he went on a journey. Then he who had received the 5 talents went and traded with them and made another 5 talents. And likewise, he who had received 2 gained 2 more also. And he who had received 1 went and dug in the ground and hid his Lord's money. After a long time, the Lord of those servants came and settled accounts with them. So he who had received the 5 talents came and brought 5 other talents, saying, Lord, you delivered to me 5 talents. Look, I have gained 5 more talents beside them. His Lord said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You were faithful over a few things. I will make you a ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of your Lord. He also who had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, you have delivered to me 2 talents. Look, I have gained 2 more talents beside them. His Lord said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of the Lord. Then he who had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you have not sown, and gathering where you have not scattered seed. And I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Look, there you have what is yours. But his Lord answered and said to him, You wicked and lazy servant. You knew that I reap where I have not sown, and gather where I have not scattered seed. So you ought to have deposited my money with the bankers, and at my coming I would have received back my own interest. Therefore take the talent from him and give it to him who has 10 talents. For to everyone who has, more will be given, and he will have abundance. But from him who does not have, even what he has will be taken away, and cast the unprofitable servant into the outer darkness. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Now you can see from this parable of talents, he wants us to be profitable, to be productive. And again, there's a lot to say about talents, because God has blessed everyone with a talent. And the word talents to me means everything. He has blessed you with your health. He's blessed you with time. He's blessed you with money. He's blessed you with something that you can do that nobody else can do. Something you've experienced. He's blessed you with so many talents. The question is, what are you doing with it? Are you just burying it? Or are you multiplying those talents and blessing people with those talents? Because as you can see with the guy with one talent, he buried it, he did nothing with it out of fear. And we're not, children of God that we should fear. I think there's a verse in Proverbs about somebody saying that there are lions in the streets. That's you can't afford to be lazy. Like this servant here. And that's the whole thing we're going to be talking about now, is we need to start thinking as a church, as a body, what we are doing with our time. Like, again, the testimony that was given today about what happened last weekend and how everybody came out and gave their time to help bless people, gave their money to bless people. Because God has blessed everybody. We're all blessed, one way or the other. But what are we doing with it? Anyway, next slide. I have to be careful, I didn't come to preach. Next slide. Financial literacy. So this is what I really want to talk about, and this is actually my own ministry. About financial literacy is the knowledge and capability in personal money management. Next. Now this is the key. Financial literacy is the ability to make informed judgments and take effective decisions regarding the use and management of money. The key words there is the ability to make informed judgments. What is informing your judgment on money? And how are you taking decisions regarding money? This is a shocking statistic. Globally, 2/3 of adults are financially illiterate. So it's not like a Nigerian thing or an African thing. Globally, 2/3 of adults are financially illiterate. And what that really means is that if I gave you $1 million today, what would you do with it? Do you have a plan of how you're going to spend that money? What is informing your judgment? It could be a spiritual judgment like Pastor Charles has just shared. Are you going to tithe 10% straight away? What do you then do with the rest of the 90%? Are you going to buy a flashy car, flashy clothes, wristwatch, and the money is gone? What are you going to do with that money? If you say you're going to buy land, what is informing your judgment as to where to buy that land? As like Pastor Charles says, I know that real estate is not a guarantee. So what is informing your judgment? If you say you're going to open a restaurant, what is informing your judgment about the restaurant business? If you say you're going to become a farmer, what is informing your judgment? Are you doing it because you're guessing and people say they're making money, you just jump in? Are you informed before you take those decisions? And that's what financial literacy is about. What is informing your judgment about money? And unfortunately, like I said, most people are financially illiterate. So when they spend money, it's because they are ill-informed and they take bad judgments. And the aim is to make sure we are more financially literate, so we start to make wise judgments when it comes to the use and management of money. Next slide. So these are some questions you have to start to ask yourself. What do you want out of life? You have to start from that. What do you want out of life? You have to have a goal. You have to have an idea. What do you want to do with your life? We all have to account for ourselves when we go. Do you want to leave a legacy that, you made an impact on this life. You've done what God has told you to come and do here. Again, we're all here for a purpose. We're all here for a purpose to do something. You have to ask yourself, what is my purpose in life? What am I meant to be doing? And again, God will put all this in our hearts. And you just have to search yourself and ask, what am I meant to do? Am I meant to build an orphanage? Am I meant to bless the church? Am I meant to build a school? Or you could just be something simple as making sure you look after your own family and make sure they don't lack. And bring them up to be God-fearing people. What do you want out of life? But you have to start from that. Do you want to have a life where you're debt-free? You own your home, your car, and you're debt-free. And you can retire debt-free and with money to look after yourself and your family. That's a simple plan. I'm sure everybody here wants that. So you have to start with that. Because once you now know what you want out of life, then you can now start to plan how you can achieve that. The mistake most people make is that they think life will happen to them. You have to make life happen, not just it happen by mistake. We all have lovely dreams, but they're not going to happen by chance. Yes, we are spiritual people, but like the Bible, there are lots of examples in the Bible where if you just sit down at home and expect things to just happen, well, it's not going to happen that way. The good Lord will put the idea in you, put the passion in you, but you then have to act on it. And of course, most of these things tend to cost money. So you have to have a plan in place of how you're going to do this. The next question you have to ask yourself is, what is your current net worth? You have to start from where you are now and then walk up from there. And a simple example of what a net worth is just a simple, your assets minus your liabilities. But again, you have to be careful on how you define an asset. An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket. A liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. So if anything takes money out of your pocket, it's a liability. If you're in a house and you have to pay the bills in the house, that house is a liability. Of course, we all know cars, clothes, phones, wristwatches, they are all liabilities. So you have to look at yourself critically. Apart from your salary, what other assets do you have that is bringing in money? How many people here think there's a job for life? That's good. So we all know that there's nothing like a job for life. So even if you have a salary, that's an asset that is not guaranteed forever. So you have to start thinking about how can you get other forms of income or other assets that will bring money to you. Because if all you have are liabilities and no assets, then you can see you're going to be in trouble. And again, like we've been saying, how can you bless people if you lack? If you're negative, you're in debt, you have so much liabilities, you can't bless other people, and you can't be effective ministry of the word, you can't be effective with the church. So you have to start looking critically at how you're using your money and what your net worth is, and try and reduce your liabilities and increase your assets. Now, do you also have a financial plan? So you want this, you want to have a debt-free life, you want a house, you want to build an orphanage, you want to do this and that. Do you have a financial plan of how to achieve these things? Next. So this is an example of a financial plan. Do you have a plan to cover your monthly savings? In fact, the first thing to ask yourself, do you yourself know what your monthly savings are? If I ask you now to tell me how much do you spend a month, can you give me an exact figure of how much you spend a month? And you have to start with that. Anyway, I haven't got time to give you, I have a very interesting personal history myself, but I learned the hard way when I became bankrupt many years ago, because I was in UK doing business, making a lot of money, but I was financially indisciplined. So I had no idea what was coming in, what was going out, and I was just living a very good life. All of a sudden I realized I was short of money, things were not going well, and then when I did a balance of my expenses and my outgoings, it was shocking. I knew I was heading for bankruptcy. But that was a wake-up call that I need to start to have an idea, and since then, this is over 10 years ago or more, I have been quite strict on knowing exactly how much I'm spending any month and exactly how much is coming in. And I think it's very important you should do that, because if you don't know how much you're spending every month, then you're not going to know how you can make savings or cut savings. And how are you going to save? Because like I said, it is very important that you should know how much you spend a month on airtime, petrol, clothes, food. You should document everything so that you know that if you lose your job or your business goes bad, you can survive for 6 months because you've saved enough money to cover you for 6 months. But how would you know how much to save for if you don't even know how much you're spending a month? So say, for instance, you're spending a total of 20,000 naira a month. Then 6 times 20 is, what's 6 times 20? 120. So that means you need to have a plan where you've saved 120,000 naira somewhere, maybe in a fixed deposit, or you can buy bonds with it. We'll talk about that. That you know the money is safe. That if anything happens to you, you can survive for 6 months. You should have a financial plan for that. If you're someone that goes on holiday, again, you should have a financial plan for that. If you have children and you have to pay school fees, there should be a financial plan for that. You know, I always say by the time you have a child, it's always amazing because everybody is running helter-skelter every time school fees, it's time to come. And I always say, the time they gave birth to that child, didn't they realize that child was going to go to school? And there should have been a financial plan in place to say, this is how I'm going to be paying for school fees for this child. And that's the way everybody needs to start thinking about money. You have to start planning these things. They don't happen by accident. You know these expenses are coming. You should start to plan for them. You know, plan for savings, for down payment for a house, and most importantly, retirement. I'm sure everybody wants to retire and enjoy their lives. You don't want to retire and still be working till you die. But have you got a plan in place, again, for your retirement? So it's all these things you begin to start to think about. Next slide. I'm just going to give you, this is a short video that we're just going to watch. And it really, you know, it paints a lot. It helps my presentation now because it tells you everything I need to tell you about financial planning. You just play the video.
$82.
82 Spain,
90
America,
Italy. 1994
America,
2002
Germany,
2006
Japan, Korea,
2014
and now Brazil. My name
is Chaitali Chatterjee. This year, when we go to Brazil, it will be our 9th time.
My name is Pannalal Chatterjee. I'm 81 and I live in Calcutta. When I first went to the Football World Cup in 1982, I was so captivated by the beauty of watching the match in the stadium that we decided we have to go to every World Cup.
I can't express the feeling of witnessing the event every 4 years. On TV, the camera only follows the ball. They don't show the complete picture, the strategy and formations in which players move.
Some people drink, some are addicted to tea or cinema. My addiction is football.
He goes to watch local football and walks every day to keep himself fit. We save every penny for 4 years and try our best not to spend from it. Sometimes we don't eat fish for a whole month.
Yes, to compensate. We even cut down costs by packing ready-to-eat meals, biscuits, sweets and snacks from here. We even take tea bags. Food is never the priority. It's the thrill of being able to watch the game.
When I saw Maradona in 1986, I thought, how can a human force touch the defense of a team single-handedly?
But I think Zidane was better.
No, Maradona is unparalleled.
Oh, Maradona.
Thank you. Now, do they look like a wealthy couple to you? They're not a wealthy couple, but they've been to 9 World Cups. They've been to 9 World Cups. They've traveled around the world. But what they did is they had a goal. Their goal was every 4 years we're going to the World Cup. So for 4 years, like they told you, they saved. They will cut costs here, cut costs. They had a goal to achieve. And the reason why I love this video is that it shows you that anybody can do it once you have a goal and you have a plan. You now know what you need to do. And you all know how it's expensive, to, especially from India, to be flying around the world for a World Cup. Even the tickets alone. Exactly. So you can see if they can do it, nobody has an excuse. So it's not as if we have shown you one rich couple that were flying around in private jets around the world. This is a very simple, average family. But they did what they had to do to achieve their goal. So this just shows you that anybody can do financial planning. But the key now is, can you differentiate between necessities and wants? Who knows the difference with that? Necessities and wants. What's the difference? Yes? Good. That's a good one. And the young lady? That's a very well done. Well done. Good work. That's perfect. Perfect. And I think this is a big problem in Nigeria. Most of the thing we spend money on is what we want, not necessarily what we need. And that's why we then say we are short of money, we don't have money, we can't do this, we can't do that. It's because we're spending a lot of our money on what we want rather than what we actually need. So you need to now start differentiating between necessities and wants if you want to start to achieve your financial goals. Next slide. So, stop. Consumer Price Index. This is actually a very, very, very important. When we talk about financial literacy, like I said earlier, financial literacy is the ability to make informed judgments and take effective decisions regarding the use and management of money. Now, the key to financial literacy and understanding money is understanding certain key concepts. One of those concepts is Consumer Price Index. Another one is compound interest, which I'm going to talk about shortly. The other ones are not as important, like interest rates and all that. But Consumer Price Index, compound interest is very, very important because it affects all of us. Who can define Consumer Price Index quickly? No one. Okay. Yes, go ahead. Brilliant. Well done. Well done. You've got some powerful people here. Now, does this affect all of us? It does. So who can tell me what the Consumer Price Index for Nigeria is? You said it affects all of us, so someone should tell me. Again, I'll ask, does it affect all of us? They're not saying yes again. Now, this is why it's very important you need to understand what Consumer Price Index is, because it affects all of you in this room, whether you like it or not. Now, what Consumer Price Index means, or another term for Consumer Price Index is inflation. Now, what it means is that every month, the government of Nigeria, and they do this in every country, will want to measure how much the basic cost of living has gone up by over the last year. Are you following? So that's what they're trying to do. So Nigerian government, what they will do every month, they will go take a sample across the whole of Nigeria, from Enugu, Kano, Port Harcourt, Ogun, Lagos, everywhere in Nigeria, they would take a sample of goods and services, basic. So imagine yourself, when you wake up in the morning, you either wake up in your house or a rented accommodation. You're either paying a mortgage or paying rent. So they will say, what is the average cost of rent? You wake up from a bed, they will say, what's the average cost of mattress? The mattress you sleep on. You get up, you brush your teeth, maybe average cost of toothpaste, toothbrush. You have your ogi, pap, and bread. They'll look at the average cost of ogi, pap, bread, milk, egg. You have to go to work. They will look at the average cost of clothes. Then you're going to work or to school or to a job or whatever. They will look at the average cost of petrol, average cost of a car, or average cost of transport. Are you following? So they look at what is the average cost of all these things that all of you are using every day. They're not going to look at the average cost of a new iPhone 5S or whatever, or the new BlackBerry phone. No. They look at, what's that cheap phone? The Techno. They'll look at what's the average cost of a small, cheap phone. They don't look at the 250,000 phone. So what they are looking at is what is the basic cost of living. So they'll look at all these prices and see how much is gone up by over the last year. So we're in July. So what they will do is that they will take the average cost of all these goods and services, see how much it has gone up from July last year to July this year, and the report will come out in August. In August, we'll do the same, find out how long it has gone up from August last year till August this year. It will come out in September. So every month, this figure comes out that the cost of living has gone up by X percent. Are you all following? Okay, so let's say, for example, the cost of living has gone up by 5%. Of basic cost of living and prices and goods that you use. How much should your salary go up by for you to maintain the same level of living? Any guesses? So if cost of living has gone up by 5%, your salary should go up by how much? 5%. Isn't that right? Just for you to maintain the same level. Okay, so let's show you the consumer price index for Nigeria now is 16.25%. So the cost of living has gone up by 16.25% over the last year. So if your salary hasn't gone up by 16.25%, what's going to happen to you? Trouble. So you have to ask yourself, is your salary going up by 16.25%? If your answer is no, then there's trouble. Now, if this is happening every year till you retire, do you think you're going to retire financially free? Exactly. This is why it's important you need to understand consumer price index, because this is why you run out of money every month before the end of the month. I'm sure you all wonder why you make money and the money never lasts. Isn't that right? This is why. Because the cost of living has gone up, your salary is not going at pace with it, and that's why you run out of money quickly. Even if they give you more money, and that's the sad thing about this consumer price index, because say for instance you were earning 300,000 naira a year, your lifestyle would have been maintained around that level. If they now increase your salary to 1 million, your taste goes up with the salary. And with consumer price index, you will then still be suffering. So you'll be wondering, how come I'm earning more money, but I'm still lacking money? It's because you are not at pace with consumer price index. Or you're not aware about this thing affecting you. So what you need to do now, is just, number one, appreciate that this is the reality of, the society you live in. and where you live. So you need to start thinking, what can I do to at least keep pace with inflation? Because if your salary is not doing it, you then need to do something yourself. This is where creating other streams of income can help you. And again, the reason why understanding this consumer price index is important too is also, even if you go into business or you go into investing, you now have a benchmark. Because if you open a business, you employ 100 people, they're calling you CEO, chairman, you're a big man, you'll say you have secretary, you have everybody. But at the end of the day, your profit margin is 5%. Are you making money? No. You're just wasting your time. You're not making money. If you're not making money that is at least a bit above the consumer price index for the country you're working in, then you're not making money. You're just kidding yourself. So at least you have a benchmark. If somebody comes to you now and says, oh, okay, I have a brilliant investment for you. Guarantee 5% a year. Is that exciting? Exactly. Because now you have this information to start speaking on, to make you go back to the definition, informed judgments, taking effective decisions, because you now have this knowledge of cost of inflation. Now, when this report comes out and you hear it on the news, I think it's coming out next week, you will now prick your interest. You know, that, okay, this is something that you need to do. So, but again, the other thing I will advise you now, how many of you here have a fixed deposit account? How much do you get on that? 11. That's not bad. How many of you have savings account? How much do you get on the savings account? Sorry? 0. 4%. 2. So you can see that savings account is a waste of time. It's just a waste of time. Fixed deposit is not bad, 11. But that's what we're going to talk about now. We're going to give you something that all of you can do and start to get at least some good return. Now, what I should explain is that let's also be realistic. If you're already earning 0% on your money, 5% is better than 0. Are you all following? If you're earning 5% on your money and you get 8%, 8% is better than 5. Are you following? So what you're always trying to do is just get something that will give you a better return than what you're getting now. So that's the key. Next slide. Now this is where the financial markets come in to help you achieve just that. Again, I'm not saying it's the only way you can do it. This is just the quickest and easiest way to do it. The other ones, in terms of creating other businesses, is not for this session, because that one requires more knowledge, it's more risky and all that. But we'll talk to you about something that you can do straight away, 100% safe, 0 risk, and we'll start with that. Next slide. Now, when you talk about the financial markets, there are 4 separate parts of the financial market. You have what we call the fixed income securities market, which is the bonds and treasury bills. You have the stock market. Oh, you've gone too fast. And you've got the stock market, and you've got the currency market, and then the commodities market. Those are the 4 markets that comprise what we call the financial market. So you've got fixed income, bonds and treasury bills, stock market, stocks and shares, currency market, commodities market. Next slide. Now, the reason why it's important to break the financial markets into those 4 bits is when we come to talk about investment risk. Now, investment risk means, what are my chances of losing money? Not making money. What are my chances of losing money? So when you say something is low risk, it means you have a low chance of losing money. And the only part of the financial market that gives you low risk is fixed income securities market. That's you buying bonds or treasury bills. Now, if anybody tells you anything other than that, they're just lying to you. I can just be blunt about that. That is the only one that is low risk. And besides, if you buy Federal Government of Nigeria bonds and treasury bills, the risk is actually 0. They've never defaulted on it, and they always pay you back. So, Federal Government of Nigerian bonds and treasury bills is even zero risk, no risk. Okay? And you can get guaranteed 13.5% return on your money. Guaranteed. Now, the beauty about the Federal Government of Nigerian bonds is that the minimum you need to invest in it is 5,000 naira. 5,000 naira, and you can always top it up with a multiples of 1,000 naira. And you can get a 13.5% annual return on your money. So, for the people with fixed income, move on to bonds and treasury bills. From people with savings account, go straight to buying bonds and treasury bills. In fact, when I moved back myself 4 or 5 years ago to Nigeria, I was shocked that most people did not know about bonds and treasury bills. Because I was doing a radio show and I just said it as an afterthought. Because I came to Nigeria, I found out at the time it was giving 16, 18%. I bought a few, I just talked about it on the radio, and the number of phone calls we got was crazy. And then I now learned that 80% of the bonds bought in Nigeria are bought by foreign investors. You know, it is very sad where we in Nigeria, we should have bought up all the bonds that there's none available for the people abroad to come and buy. But again, this is where the financial literacy comes in. It's because we don't know. We don't have the knowledge, the awareness that there's money to be made here that is safe and nothing to even worry about losing your money. In fact, you can use your bonds as a collateral for a loan. Bonds are used as loan collateral because the bank knows it's a guaranteed thing. And you don't pay tax on it. So anyway, so this is just important that, that is actually a basic start that everybody should buy bonds and just at least get 13.5% of your money just to start with. Yes? The same thing. No, okay, the reason why I put 13 to 16, and again, because of time, I want to rush through things. If you do 5,000 naira, you can get 13.5. But, okay, let me just say it. But if you have 50 million naira to invest, then you'll be getting 16, 17, 18%. Of course, but I didn't want to go there. Let's start with the basic one of 5,000. So if you want to get the higher rates, you have to do 15 million and above. But for 5,000 naira, you get 13.5%. Okay? So I think that's something that everyone should do and start to get a good return on their money. Next slide. Oh, sorry, before you go to the next slide, quickly go back. Just for sake of completion, for those who don't mind taking some risk, they can invest long-term in the stock market. And the key word there is long-term. That means you're looking to invest in the stock market over the next 5 to 10 years. So that's very important. But there's a medium risk involved. That means a medium chance of you losing money. But again, you need to know how to study the stock market. So that's something you shouldn't do if you don't have the knowledge to do it. But you can see the stock market last year returned almost 40%. Then the high risk means high chance of you losing money. Always remember that. High risk means high risk. High chance of you losing money. And that's now trading the currency or commodities market where you can get like 100% return, which is what I do. I do a lot of trading, but I also do investment too. But you can see the reason why it's important is that most people are looking for 100% return with low risk. It doesn't exist. That is 419. That's 419. 100% return with low risk does not exist. Don't let people con you. That is just 419. If you're going to be getting 100% return, there is a high risk involved. Be prepared to lose money. When you're not prepared to lose money, don't go there. It's as simple as that. Next slide. Now, this is a background to long-term investing. Just go through it. You can put the whole thing through. Let's quickly wrap up. So in order for you to become a successful long-term investor, you need to develop these 4 skills. You really need to know how to value money. If you really want to be financially free and make a lot of money, you have to be able to value money. You have to know the value of one kobo. You also need to know how to control money. You know, there's a statistics that shows that everybody here in this room is what we call a lifetime millionaire. A lifetime millionaire in dollars. But what that means is that everybody in this room, $1 million will flow through your life. From the time you are born till the time you die, $1 million will go through your life. But unfortunately, most people around the world, that's exactly what happens. The money comes in and goes out. But what wealthy people do is the money comes in, they stop it from leaking out, and then they make it grow. So it's just something simple that you have to know how to control money. You also need to know how to save money. Save money means you know how to cut costs. But when you cut costs, the money you've saved, you then save it and invest it wisely. And then the other skills you need to develop. All these skills can be taught, by the way. And, you know, maybe some other time we'll spend more time and go into all this in detail. But the other skill that you should develop is how to make it. That's how to create different streams of income, how to shield it, how to protect your wealth. I found out the hard way from the bankruptcy. Now I know how to shield wealth. And finally, how to share it. Because it's important that once you've got your finances in order, you're now making money. It's not a question of you sit back and just enjoy yourself. You need to also learn how to share it. How you bless other people, bless your family, bless the community, and bless those who are in need. So it's very important. So these are the sort of skills you can learn. Next slide. So which do you prefer? Do you want me to give you... Stop. Oh, yeah, just go to the next one. Yeah, stop. So do you want me to give you 1,000 naira every day for 30 days? Or, next one. Stop. Teach you to double 1 kobo every day for 30 days. Which do you prefer? Okay, so what's 1,000 naira every day for 30 days? What's 1 kobo doubled every day for 30 days? It's 2.6 million naira. It's 2.6 million naira. Okay, show the whole slide. So 1,000 naira a day for 30 days is 30,000 naira, but 1 kobo doubled every 30 days is 2.6 million naira. Yes, that is a party trick you can go and do at home. So day 1 is 2, day 2 is 4, 8, 16, 32. Do that for 30 days. You get to 2.6 million naira. That is the power of compound interest. That is the power of compound interest. So I've told you the number one thing about consumer price index. Very important. You've now seen how important that. The next is compound interest. Next slide. Show the whole slide. No, keep going. I want to end on the next one. Keep going. Next slide. Show the table. Stop. Yeah. So we'll end on this slide. So this is the effect of compound interest. You can save 300 naira a day can generate you 307 million naira. 300 naira a day can generate you 307 million naira. You like that? Yes, I can tell from your response. How? Let me show you how. Okay. It all depends on what interest return you're getting on your money. So who has got a calculator? 307 times 28. Quickly. 307 times 28. Okay, so let's say 8,500 a month. So if you save 8,500 naira a month, it can become 307 million naira. But it depends on the return you're getting on your money. So if you invest your money and you're getting 3% a year, you will get the 307 million in 150 years. So you can see the savings account is a waste of time. If you do 8,500 naira and you're getting a return of 5%, you'll get your 307 million in 101 years. If you do it at 10% a year, which I've now told you can easily get with the federal government of Nigerian bonds, you will get it in 59 years. So that's not too bad. Okay, that's not too, of course, 15% for the 3 years, 20%. So you can see the higher the returns you get, the shorter the duration. But let's look at 10%. So if you do 8,000 naira a month, and you're just buying bonds every month, 8,500, and the interest, you keep buying more bonds with interest and compounding it, you will get 307 million in 59 years. How can you shorten that duration? Sorry? Double your investment. Are you, yeah? You increase the amount, Abi? Are you all in agreement? Okay, where would that increased amount come from? Wait. Exactly. Because you now know the value of money. Because you have to reduce your expenses because you can now see the value of money. Because you can see it's logic. If you say, okay, I can't wait for 59 years. This 8,500, I need to increase it. Then something has to decrease somewhere. So when they are saying, Ashwebi time to buy a new phone, time to do this and that, you will think twice. Because the money has to come from somewhere. We are all in church, so I'm assuming you're not going to steal the money. So it's either you increase your assets, get more revenue, or reduce your expenses. That is why, again, I've learned from more personal experience. From, like I told you, I was bankrupt before. But, the reason why I could get back to a financial good state is because I then understood the value of money and the value of investing money and letting the money do the work for you. Okay? Next slide. I think we are almost done. Keep going. This is just telling you that there are different ways you can invest. So, but like I said, for you, just start with, brilliant. So that's the end. So, like I said, for you, just start with the federal government of Nigerian bonds. Because that is low risk. I can leave Abrahamstent Ministries. I know I'm not in trouble that I told you to go and buy bonds. Nobody can go wrong. The other one, I really need to teach you what to do, so I'm not going to talk about that one. But this one, at least you can start with 13.5% zero risk. Okay? So I think that's my message for today is begin to look at money differently, begin to treat money differently, and hopefully you can take wise decisions. Thank you.